Back in August, Telltale released their first episode of their new Batman game. Using their well-known episodic structure, their first episode was a great start to the series, with players establishing the best ways to play the game, whether it be as Gotham's Caped Crusader or as billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. The approach to the game was a great one, as never before had players been able to play as the full Batman. We always have ample opportunity to play as the brooding Dark Knight, but we never really get to experience what it's like to be the full Batman, and play as his alter ego Bruce Wayne. The first episode of the series was mostly positive, with some interesting initial choices and some intriguing plot twists. Before we get into the meat of the review, I just wanted to make a brief point about the game's Season Pass. To ease the process of playing this game series, I downloaded the Season Pass from the game when the first episode came out. After a patch downloaded automatically on my PlayStation a few days ago, I assumed that the episode would be ready to play. However, when booting up the game, I was met with almost every menu screen telling me to buy the Season Pass. When I scrolled to the second episode, the game only gave me the option to buy the episode or the Season Pass. This caused a lot of confusion, and after some hunting around, I had to go to the PlayStation Store and click download to get the next episode. Whilst I understand that marketing the Season Pass for a game like this is important, I'm stunned that Telltale hasn't managed to change any of the menus or the game in general if a player has already bought the Season Pass. It's an annoying process to go through. To be honest, it isn't fair when they're marketing the Season Pass as a quick and easy way to get their next section of the game. Why don't these download automatically? Speaking of the menu, I am a fan of both the soundtrack and the cool Batman Bruce Wayne transition thing it does. It's a small thing, but a lot of menus in games nowadays can be boring. I like that this one's trying to spice things up a bit. In the opening section of the episode, we're met with Bruce Wayne in the alleyway that his parents were murdered in. After learning in the previous episode that his parents weren't who he thought they were, Bruce tries to relive that traumatic night with Alfred. To be honest, this opening section of the game irritated me. One of the most annoying things about Batman movies and games is they always feel it's necessary to teach us about why Batman became Batman. I think it's safe to say that nowadays, pretty much everyone and anyone who would play a game like this is at least slightly aware that Bruce Wayne's parents died. I mean, the last episode was so overfilled with them shoehorning that in, that this opening section was a bit of a pain to go through. After playing a few Telltale games now, I always have a slight issue with the conversation options. In The Walking Dead, I remember having a few options that I clicked on, and I was annoyed that what the options seemed like wasn't really what the character was going to be saying. For someone like me who loves having these conversation options, I find it really irritating in games like these when what I think I'll be saying is nothing similar to what the character actually says. In this opening section, I thought I was taking a pretty casual route with Alfred, when actually Bruce was then really mean to him, and then I just felt bad.
I understand.
Speaking of these dialogue options, I just want to briefly talk about my main issue with this episode. A lot of important conversations happen between big characters, and about 9 times out of 10, I felt like I was not given the amount of time I should have been for those types of conversations. Seriously, sometimes you're given about 5 seconds to choose between saying something that could ruin your relationship with a character, or really take the game down a path you weren't expecting. I get that they might be trying to challenge people here, but if you're not given the right amount of time to make these decisions properly, then why put them in at all? Furthermore, in this opening 10 minutes or so, I encountered some pretty serious framerate dips and performance issues. This made me a bit worried, seeing as Telltale's engine is notorious for not being the most stable. Luckily, these framerate dips went away for me, but I haven't looked at how this episode ran on PC. I know that the last episode had some problems. This episode is written and performed really well, as Telltale games usually are, as they rely on their story and writing to pull them through. What's more, there are some great plot twists in there that are a breath of fresh air in a genre filled to the brim with samey Batman stories. Last episode, Bruce Wayne / Batman's voice actor was a little disappointing. Not because Troy Baker didn't do well, but just because I felt they weren't using such an amazing voice actor to his full potential. This episode, that fault was remedied, however.
The only thing you'll get from me is a trip downtown.
Gameplay-wise, this is a familiar one for any Telltale veterans out there. The majority of your time will be spent in conversations, short as they may be. When you're not talking to other characters, you'll either be doing Batman detective stuff, which is a bit basic but still satisfying, or you'll be in combat sequences. Now, QuickTime events are never the best, and in combat sequences, I would argue they shouldn't be there. Only a few games can really say that they got QuickTime event combat right. Whilst I find this game does a good job of combat and uses these QuickTimes quite well, I find the speed of them a little distracting. I always love watching Batman beat people up, but watching the screen for fear of missing a button press means I can't actually appreciate what moves I'm pulling off. I imagine it wouldn't be received too well, but I for one wouldn't mind either just watching these combat sequences unfold, or having grossly simple button presses so I could really appreciate what was going on. Telltale might as well stick to their strengths, and I'd say combat isn't exactly one of those. While we're on the topic of the combat sequences, there is a great bar fight in this episode, but either I was fighting 3 guys who would not stay down, or Telltale are very lazy with character modelling. In the game's closing sections, I felt it may have been a tad rushed, as some details established themselves without being revealed to me. Like, I have no recollection of Bruce finding out Oz was calling himself Penguin now, but I guess I'm just supposed to roll with that punch. Like last episode, you're offered a genuinely difficult choice that thank God isn't timed. In this choice, I especially loved that there were brilliant musical underscores for choosing between playing as Batman and Bruce. Overall, this installment has a genuinely intriguing ending, and gets you ready and eager to play the next episode. Although again, I was irritated by the fact that I was asked to buy the season pass for the game after the close of play. Seriously, please appreciate that I have already given you my money. Anyway, if you hadn't had a chance to give this game a try yet, I'd recommend it. There are some truly great moments that are unique to Batman games. Telltale is taking this series in a brilliant direction, and if they sort out the few issues that they have, it could end up being a brilliant series. For anyone interested, you can beat this episode in about an hour and a half. And for any trophy or achievement hunters out there, this is a must.
This is very shady indeed.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't really know what to say now. The script's ended. No, honestly, thanks so much for watching. I know this is a little different to what you guys usually get, but yeah, we're just giving it a go, and who knows, we'll maybe do some more stuff like this, some more actual sort of discussion-based game topic things. I don't know. I know we already do that, but anyway, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to check out our other videos, give this a like if you enjoyed it, and remember to subscribe.